Hello and welcome to today's Animal Cam. This is Kristan from Lion Learners East Midlands, and today I have got some creepy crawly creatures for you to meet. I've got some of our cockroaches. Now, I know that a lot of you, when you hear the word cockroach, will kind of shudder and go, "Ugh." They're not everybody's cup of tea, but they're a little bit misunderstood. There are actually 4,600 different species of cockroach across the planet, and only about 30 of those actually come into contact regularly with people, and about 4 species of cockroaches are known to be pests, the ones that we perhaps have around our homes that we really wouldn't want to. But the rest of them, most cockroaches come into no contact with people at all whatsoever. And they are of really, really old, really ancient creatures. They have actually been around since the time before the dinosaurs. Around about 320 million years ago, the first cockroaches were on the planet. So they have been around an awful long time. Oh, something very dramatic is going on in there. The boys that we're looking at right now are our group of male Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And anybody who has been to an event with any of the Lion Learners presenters might well have met some of these guys. All of the Lion Learners presenters have Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And one of the reasons for that is that they're really docile. As you can see, they're not moving around a whole lot, apart from these two who seem to be having some kind of interesting disagreement. What are you doing, boys? They're just establishing perhaps who is the boss in this gang, because they're all boys and there's a lot more argy-bargy going on in here than there would be in the ladies group. But they're very nice and gentle to handle. They have absolutely no wings, so they don't fly. Most species of cockroach actually do have wings. These ones don't have wings at all. Although they're not great flyers, they are kind of good at gliding, I suppose, those cockroaches that fly. With wings rather, they don't actually fly all that well. These don't fly at all. And they're usually most active at night time. They spend a lot of their day snoozing, but I've woken these boys up so we can meet them today. I'm going to pick one of these guys up, and you have to listen out carefully when I pick them up. They're called hissing cockroaches because they can hiss if they think that they are threatened, if they think that a predator's after them. That's a way of avoiding being eaten. And they will, if they've not been handled as pet cockroaches, they can still hiss at you if they think that you're a threat. These boys are quite new to me. We've had hissing cockroaches here at Lion Learners East Midlands since the beginning, but this actual group came to me at the beginning of March, and so they've not been handled a whole lot because obviously we've not been out and about very much. So they do tend to still hiss. Once they get used to being handled, they won't hiss at you. Hopefully one of these boys will hiss at me today so you can hear the sound that they make. So let's go for you. No, he says, I'm feeling very friendly today. I'm not going to hiss at you. Let's have a closer look at him. There we go. So no hissing from this one. Hopefully one of the others will hiss at us later. And you can see that his body is covered in armour. They have a hard shell called an exoskeleton, which lots of mini beasts have, because they are an invertebrate, so they don't have bones inside their body. So he's rock solid. He's very tough. And on the top of his armour just here, you can see he's got little horns that the boys are actually, the two that are on top of the log, were using to push each other around a little bit. So the girls, we'll look at some girls in a minute. Girls don't have those horns on the top of their head. They're for the boys, a bit like rhino horns. They'll use them to push each other around. They aren't their eyes. Sometimes people think that they're eyes, and they kind of look like they might be. His eyes are actually on his head, which you can see where the antennae are attached. You can see his antenna waving around frantically because he's trying to figure out what's going on and whether he's going to fall off my hand, whether he can move any further. And the little kind of structure in front of his armour that he's got his antennas attached to. That's where his head is, and that's where his eyes are. So he has got eyes. You can't really see them on an adult cockroach because they're kind of the same colour as he is. But when they're younger, as they grow, they molt their old skin. And after molting, they're quite pale coloured for a while until they harden. So on the babies, you can see where their eyes are. You can't really see his eyes. He's relying on his antenna as he's moving around. He's just feeling his way. He could climb up branches and things like that to avoid predators or to find food. And they eat almost anything. They're real omnivores. In the wild, they eat lots of vegetation, lots of fruit, leaves. They would eat the rotting carcasses of animals that have perhaps passed away. They eat rotting wood, all sorts of things. So they're actually... Oh, you're back with us. We lost the internet for some reason for a moment. I was just saying that cockroaches, along with other mini beasts, they are part of nature's cleanup crew. So they eat lots of the rotting vegetation and dead bodies and things that no one else wants to eat. They don't make a lot of mess themselves. They're really clean and tidy. They're very simple and straightforward to look after. They make very little mess themselves. So that's their job. That's why they are on the planet, to clean and tidy the place. And so the forests of Madagascar, where these guys come from, will be a very messy place without the cockroaches and other mini beasts that are there cleaning up and eating things that others don't want. And they're also food for lots of other creatures, which is where the hissing comes in. Let's see if one of the other boys will hiss for us before we meet some of the others. No, we're all feeling very, very calm and relaxed this afternoon. Nobody wants to hiss. What about you? You're going to hiss at me? Just when you want them to. This often happens in schools and at parties. They just decide they don't really want to hiss at me at the moment where you'd really like them to. No, nobody's feeling very hissy today. They're all feeling very friendly. All right. So you can see as pets, they have a variety of different things to eat. They love to eat fruit and veggies and salad, and I find that their absolute favourite thing is bread. They've also got some cat food over there, and they will nibble on that too. They eat all sorts of things, don't you boys? Right, let's put this one back. There with me. He's making friends. I'm going to come over to the other tank, because in here we have a maternity ward going on. In here I have a group of ladies. And lots of little cockroaches too, lots of little babies. Oops, sorry, I've tipped you upside down. Let's help her out. These girls are a bit of a surprise actually. They arrived free as part of a book delivery online, and now they're all having lots of babies. So these are female hissing cockroaches. They're a different colour from the boys. They do come in different shades of brown all the way up to black, and you can see they have little tiny bumps on their heads, but nothing like the big horns that the boys have. And that's because they tend to be a little bit more peaceful. They're not spending so much time figuring out who's the boss. And both the boys and the girls do like to live together. They do like to be in groups. They live in colonies and family groups in the wild. And they're very gentle and very, very nice to their babies. They'll look after them. Often when the babies are very new, they kind of hang around with mum a lot of the time. You can see how small the babies are. Let's see if I can move this one out and get some of the babies from underneath. They're very tiny. Even at this size, they're quite chilled out, really. Quite happy to be handled. Let's see if I can catch one of them. There we go. There's some of them on my hand. So these ones were born about a week ago now, and they've got lots of growing to do. As they grow, they'll molt their hard outer shell because it gets too small for them, and then harden up again until they get to adulthood, and then they stop doing that. They don't grow and they don't molt anymore either. Yeah. So these are staying in this tank at the moment until they're a little bit bigger, because they can escape very easily from almost anywhere, and they've got some lip balm around the top of the tank so that the babies can't climb out, because they can climb up the side of the plastic. This seems to be an escape proof tank for them. So they're going to be in here until the babies have grown up a little bit. There we go. And I think there might be more because there's 4 adult ladies in here, so we might end up with quite a lot more baby cockroaches before we've finished. But because the boys are over there, there will be no more babies after this. That's why I've kept them separately, so we don't end up with way too many baby cockroaches. So there is our Madagascar not hissing today cockroaches. These guys make great pets actually for bug lovers. They're very easy to look after. Oh, one of the boys, look, he's just showing how he can climb. He says, I'd like to go into the ladies' tank, but you're not. In here. There we go. And so that, yeah, they're very good pets for bug lovers. They're really easy to look after. They will eat almost anything, and they're very tough and very gentle. They don't bite, they can't bite. They might hiss at you when you first get them, and once they're used to being held, they don't mind at all. Okay, let's leave these guys to it. I'm going to cover the boys up because we don't want any of them in there. And I'm very quickly going to show you a different type of cockroach. Put them in this little tub because these ones like to bury down. See if I can find them. There we go. These are headlight cockroaches. This one's a lady, so she doesn't actually have any headlights, but you can see she's got tiny little wings on her body, which she doesn't use at all. They don't have any function really. She doesn't fly, but adults all have these little wings. And they behave quite differently. They don't tend to climb up. Where's your little friend? There he is. But they like to burrow down. These ones come from a different part of the world. So Madagascar hissing cockroaches obviously come from the island of Madagascar. These ones come from the rainforests in Central and South America. And you can see this one, this is a boy. He's got amazing bright headlights on the front of his head, where the horns are on a male hissing cockroach. And they, in the wild, they glow in the dark. I find that these don't. It's to do with what they eat when they're living in the rainforest, and that's what helps them to glow. But these guys, they're although their spots are there, they're not actually glowing spots, but they would be glow in the dark in the wild. And my little group of headlight cockroaches do actually live in a family group, because I find that they although we've had them for about a year now, they've only just had their first group of babies, so we're not being overwhelmed by them. So they live in a little group of boys and girls that are mixed, and they spend a lot of time on the bottom of their tank just kind of hiding and buried. If they're given the opportunity, what they really want to do is dig, which is why I've put them in this little pot so that we can meet them, because it would be quite hard to find them in their big tank. Hello, let's have a closer look at him. So even these tend to be a bit quicker moving than the hissing cockroaches, but once they get used to you, they're pretty relaxed as well. These ones are older adults now, and they have been handled quite a lot, so they don't seem to mind too much. There she is, having a wander along. And they have a similar diet, really. They eat all sorts of vegetation and bread and all sorts of different things. But again, in the wild, they'd eat a lot of rotting vegetation and wood, and possibly other creatures that have passed away. They don't actually kill other creatures to eat them, but if there was a body around, they might have a little go. And we have some babies of these as well. I don't know whether we'll be able to see them. Depends if I can find them. You go in there. Oops. She says, I'm on my back as well. They can flip themselves over. Just takes them a little bit of a while to do it. Let's keep looking at them. Watch them bury whilst I see if I can find their babies. These babies are very small and very fast. I was amazed by how small they are. So I have some of them, let's see, in here without any soil, so they can't bury. Let's see if we can see any of them. There we go. There they are. There's one there on the bottom. This is, I'm just going to hide under the basil. I really don't want to be on camera. Oops. Just check there's nobody on the paper towel. No, just put that in there just in case. And then, ooh, I could move the basil away. He's still hiding. There we go. You can see how incredibly tiny this little guy or girl is. It's impossible to know when they're this small whether this is a boy or a girl. So I'm just pretending to be part of the mud. There we go. Whee! They're really small and really quick. And if I pick it up on my hand, it's just going to go whoop, off my hand and then disappear. Never to be seen again. So they're not handleable really in the same way that the baby hissing cockroaches are yet, until they get much, much bigger. There we go. Pop that back in there. And the adults have almost buried themselves. They're kind of hiding. Right. I think we'll leave it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed meeting some of our creepy crawly creatures. Tune in tomorrow again at 2 o'clock for more Animal Cam. Bye.